Hi Graham.
Hi,
What's
James.
the latest on an injury front? Will Ben Chilwell and Raheem Sterling be available tomorrow?
Well, it's positive. We're going to train later on this afternoon, so providing they come through that okay, there's a good chance they'll be in the squad.
You spoke after West Ham and Dortmund about making steps forward. Are you happy at the rate in which you're progressing at the moment?
Well, we can always do more and do better, but at the same time you always have to look at the situation for what it is and put it in the context that it's in. But in terms of how the group is working, that's positive. I thought the Dortmund performance away from home, given the context of the competition, the opponent, the environment, was another step forward. But we have a different challenge again at the weekend because we're at home against a Premier League side. So we have to make sure we're ready for that. But yeah, satisfied, but as always room to improve.
And in terms of tomorrow's match, you start 10 points off the top four. Is it a game that you simply need to win to keep alive the hopes of qualifying for the Champions League via the Premier League?
Well, I think it's a game that we want to win because we're playing at home. We want to win. It's as simple as that. As I've said before, there's no point thinking about 4 months away. We focus on the next match, which is Southampton. So, as we know from earlier in the season, and in any game you play in the Premier League, it's always complicated, always tough. So we have to be ready for that challenge and play at home, try to take the 3 points.
Marco Correa is clearly going through a really difficult time at the moment. Reports suggest that his house was broken into shortly after joining the club.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
Was it disappointing to hear him being booed by the Chelsea fans in Dortmund on Wednesday?
I didn't hear that, to be honest. There was 80,000 people there, so I didn't hear any of that.
Only one goal in the last 4 matches. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang appears to be the only out-and-out striker fully fit at the moment. What does he need to do to get himself back into contention? Do you see him having a role to play this season?
Well, we have David Fofana as well, who's a centre forward that we've signed. Who's a young player with potential, we feel. And there's also other forwards, but of course Pierre's in our squad. He's remained an important player for us. He's worked hard. He knows the situation at the moment, but nothing's set in stone. His attitude has been really, really good, and we'll make an assessment as we go forward.
And finally, from me, what's your understanding on the situation around Mason Mount's contract at the moment? Reports suggest a bit of a stalemate when it comes to negotiations. How keen are you to tie into a new deal at the club?
Well, I think it's always complicated. There's always negotiation. It's best that I leave it between Mason and the club. It's that's the best way for that to be dealt with, as far as I'm concerned. He's been fantastic to work with, an important player for us, and of course I hope it gets resolved quickly.
Vaishali, PLP.
Hi Graham.
Hi.
Obviously Ben started in midweek, but how important is it for you to manage his return back from injury?
Yeah, that's the challenge for us at the moment. He had 30 against West Ham, 60 against Dortmund, so the decision will be based on how he recovers today and how he reports, and we'll make that call probably tonight or tomorrow as to the extent that he can play, but it's certainly something we have to be mindful of.
And one on Southampton, what challenges arise when you're about to take on a team without a permanent manager at the helm?
Well, you're not sure at all how they're going to go. Anything can come at you pretty much, because you've got a caretaker manager and they've had a week to prepare some ideas. What's happened before is no reference really, so that's the challenge for us. We have to then focus on ourselves and focus on what we're doing well, and then prepare and make sure we're ready for the challenge, because I think there's a big challenge coming our way.
Alex, BBC.
Hi Graham.
Hi.
Your team's creating a lot of chances at the moment, which is obviously a positive for you as a coach, but aren't taking them. So is there a point you can't be praising them for creating the chances, that they need to take them, or do you need some luck, or is it kind of a mixture of all of that?
No, I don't like to use luck as a reason or something to wait for, because it's something you can't control. Clearly you need that in a game, but it's not for us to think about. It's about the Dortmund game in terms of chances created was a positive for us. If we can maintain that, that's the challenge for us. And then the quality of play that we have, I think, in the final positions we can score. The criticism for us, I would say, and the fair criticism, and something that we've been looking to improve over a period, is we haven't attacked as well as I'd like us to. And attacking well means creating chances, sustaining chances, good chances how we want it to look. And it was closer against Dortmund. Good in the first part of the game against West Ham, but the challenge is always to do it over the 90 minutes. It's not as simple as that, of course, because it's the Premier League and there's an opponent there, but that's what we need to do.
And you mentioned you've got players coming back like Ben Chilwell, Raheem Sterling, and a positive performance. You said that's a step forward against Dortmund. Do you feel that with time things are getting closer to where you want to be? Do you get that performance over that 90 minutes?
Well, yeah, we feel there's progress, but again, you have to constantly see and evaluate where we're at and what the circumstances are. It's pretty straightforward. You know, you play a game and you need to win. But there's lots of things going on in the background in terms of, okay, you know, managing players coming back from injury, like I said last week and the week before, integrating new players into the team and how that works, and all the time you're playing against, you know, you're playing a competition, you're playing an opponent, so you have to deal with that as well. But that's just where we're at, and it's exciting.
Thank you.
Simon Johnson, Athletic.
Okay. This is a general question, not specifically referring to last Saturday. Sort of been asked to ask you, what do you make of VAR, and if you could change anything, is there anything that if you could change that you would?
Oh,
that sounds a lot then.
That's a nice one. No, I have no problem with VAR necessarily. I don't think I would have had it in the first place because I think I'm a bit of a romantic traditionalist. I quite like the referee and the linesman are there to make the decision, and whatever mistake happens. I think that's good, but I understand that we want to make it so that all the decisions are correct. Then I go, do we really want every single decision to be correct? Because there's an element of human error, there's an element of that happens in the game. It's something for us all to talk about and get annoyed about. It's part of the game. I think it'd be boring. Are we going towards eventually computers are going to make the decision? Because I hear people talking about they need it to be consistent, and the only way to be consistent is human beings don't make the decision, because every human being will see it in a different way, and the football action will be so different. There won't be the same one. So this drive for consistency is strange when you consider that humans are taking part in the game. I would like the referee to mostly referee the game. Apart from that, I'll just try and support the process, because that's where it is. That's where we want to go to. So again, I don't think it's so easy to be a VAR ref. I think we're still in the early stages of being a VAR ref. I think it must be different to go on the pitch, feeling the game, to then refereeing the game in a script, in this room, for example. Mm-hmm. So that's something that inevitably they're going to get better at, I think. But apart from that, I have enough problems myself to worry about VAR.
And just a quick one about Chelsea. Creating chances isn't the problem. It seems like taking them is. So, are you sort of doing any extra drills, shooting drills, just to get that confidence going, or sort of it seems like a confidence thing in terms of front of goal that players are snatching chances rather than taking them?
I'm not sure I totally agree with you there.
It's fine.
I think you can make that case against Dortmund. Yeah. I mean, João hit the bar, was unlucky. And a good chance before then that you'd think with his quality he would score, but I think sometimes that happens in football. It's the hardest thing to do is to put the ball in. We created chances in terms of whatever you think about XG was quite high from an away team's perspective in the Champions League. But previously to that, I'd like it to be a bit more. I'd like us to create more chances. I think the more you do, then you just back the quality of the player at the top end of the pitch. But I think as a final third, it's an area where we can improve, and we need to do better, I think.
Okay, last question, broadcast. Scott?
Yeah, obviously you've had a lot of players added to the squad, and Malo Gusto has came back to Cobham to do some rehabilitation on his injury. Just wondering who made that decision. Is it a good opportunity for you to speak to the player, and is there any update on Andrea Santos as well?
Well, Malo's just here to help with his rehab, and it was the club made that decision. But again, it's nice to meet him, nice to see him person around here, but we're just trying to help him get fit. And Santos is still in the same place. I think we're looking at what the options are for him.
Okay, in the broadcast section.